All right, folks, we're back once again. Thanks for sitting with us during the break time. I am surprised how fantastic the viewership for this has been. Peaking at 4K at least twice during the broadcast. Feels good, man. Glad to know you guys are enjoying the games, I suppose. This TvP, though, is going to be quite interesting. On one hand, you've got Wellmu, who has not been seeing the greatest performance in recent days, but he did make it here to the round of 8. Then you got uThermal as well, who is or has been gaining a lot of traction. Better and better player every time we've seen him over the last 5 to 7 months. So I think for me, I'm thinking this will probably be a uThermal series, but it would be nice for Wellmu to win and give a little bit more diversity in the semifinals, as we have 2 Terrans advancing already. There's a guaranteed Zerg to be in there in either the winner of Nurture or a Laser, but maybe a little bit of a mix-up.
Good point. So apparently uThermal has some internet issues, asking to play on the Brazilian server.
That is odd, but also I hope his internet is stable enough to play. We've actually, funny enough, it was Kelazur recently. He was playing sort of to qualify for this in the round of 8, and his internet died, and they had to like put it off and
Oh yeah,
push it
that's
back
right.
and all that.
Yep. How am I supposed to Mass Reaper like this? It's a good question.
If you're Mass Reapering versus Protoss, that's a really good question.
Mass Reaper, 2 Reaper. Same thing.
I guess in context, what you normally have versus Protoss, that would be Mass Reaper. Like,
1 Reaper? By the gods.
yeah. Well, either way, we'll be going here as soon as they're ready. Looks like the O Gaming stream just needed an extra moment or two, so hopefully we won't be waiting around too long. But as far as stuff goes over here, guys, we are working diligently behind the scenes to do some more cool stuff for BaseTradeTV. Of course, for the month of December, we've got announced the Yord Would You Watch This tournament. We've got Make Korea Great Again. Corsair Cups will be continuing on as per usual, and I really can't wait to announce this last and final thing. It's a big one. It's a real big one, and we're working really hard to make it happen.
It's like Hell It's About Time on steroids.
Well, I mean, if you think about the follow-up for it, it kind of will be. It's like giving away even more hints at what?
Careful
Also,
now.
I will just mention, we've updated it on the schedule, and I'm actually going to go edit it on Team Liquid now because I forgot to. The Corsair Cup on the 12th of this December will be 3 hours earlier than usual. So a little bit sooner than our regular scheduled broadcast. This is just because Zombie and I have some stuff we have to do on that Monday that we can't get around, so we have to make the tournament a little bit earlier to compensate. I don't got any more small talk in me, man. I'm actually quite tired.
I talked about the cats. I talked about the food.
The wake-up call, so like, it shouldn't have screwed me up so badly, but the wake-up call this morning really did. Like, I feel like I woke up with enough sleep technically achieved, but I don't feel like it was. I feel very tired still. Like, am I going to go pass out after this cast? Maybe. Like, very probably.
I'm sorry.
That's all good. The news was worth
that
that yoga pant butt was worth discussing. Thank you for that.
Oh, we're starting. I had one more thing to talk about, actually. I've been watching another television show, but...
What you watching? What you got your eyes on?
I finished 3%, which I do suggest watching, if you don't mind subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching Glitch.
Bob's Tool from Reboot?
Glitch. No, it's it
Glitch,
didn't look
particle
that interesting.
beam.
So it's, I guess what's like, it just proves the point that it's not about it's not about the idea, it's about the execution. Because 3% was kind of like a used idea of like, you know, post like a dystopian world where only a certain amount of people have like a good life. And Glitch is about zombies, like people rising from the dead, but they're not zombies, they just like rose from the dead and you're like, what the fuck? So it all sounds kind of like basic and not that interesting, but it's actually, like, both of them are really well done.
That for me is actually something that lacks. I'm at this point where I think I've seen enough on TV, and there's so many tropes out there that are classically repeated. I'm not looking for originality, but I am looking for quality. And I think whether it's anime or whether it's real life stuff on TV or whatever, I'm so much more enticed by something that's got good quality put into it, and it's not just being like pushed out and mass produced. Like
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy. Like there's the superhero slew of shows, right? You got Gotham, you got The Flash, you got Supergirl, all these sort of shows. Arrow too. Those all started out really good, and the quality was just top notch. But then, like as the seasons got renewed, I think the networks were just like, "How can we make more money from this? Let's just mass produce it." And now they're so bad to watch now, and I can't. I just can't.
I get you.
Breaks my heart sometimes. But anyways, we are in brand new best of 5 here for the International Top Dogs round of 8, determining one of these players to go to the semifinals. We've seen Beyond and Kellozer both advance so far. Who will join them? In the bottom right side, we got the blue Protoss, Welmu.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he is Euthermal. And I guess the last point of the television talk was that I didn't even realize this, but so the 3% is actually like made in Brazil, and Glitch is actually an Australian show.
Oh, well, there you go, right there. I mean,
Well, it's so weird. I really didn't like. I feel like I usually can tell the difference between like the English accent and the Australian accent. There's like a ton of different subsections, right? But like Apollo versus Livy B, I totally know the difference. But I was actually kind of like, wait, they're talking about like Aboriginals. It's Australian, and I had to look it up. Silly.
For me, everyone at this point who watches should know I feel like the biggest crush on Australian accents. Man, women, don't care. When it comes to it, I just want to hear an Australian speak in my ear, whisper softly. And I love when you find like a good Australian show, because there's not many, like honestly.
Right? I am actually learning so much. It's not that different, but I do feel there is a little bit of different culture and history that they're using, because there's a guy that's kind of like from the 1800s, I guess, and they were talking about his reaction to black people, right? And his was like, you just use different words and like different expectations, and it was just so different compared to like what was that one show that was actually good for the first season? It was about the Headless Horseman. I can't remember what it was, but the point is, anyway.
Once Upon
it
a
was
Time?
Like, no. It was like there's the English guy who was like a traitor for the revolution on America's side,
Paul
and
Revere?
there's the black chick who was the leader, and it was Sleepy Hollow. God damn, it was Sleepy Hollow. They had him wake up and like then react to all the new things, right? It was like the same deal, but it was actually different because it was Australian. But anyway, I was super confused because I was English at first, and I was like, "Huh, this actually sounds like a lot like America, but it's definitely not." Oh, Australia. Okay, I get it.
By the way, big shouts and thank you to Phantom6 for subscribing to the channel. Nice. Twitch Prime subs are great, but real subs are awesome too, because it's your cold, hard-earned cash. Now, openings here were slow, and that's why we were comfortable to talk about nothing at all. Welmu wasn't rushing adepts across the map, nor was uThermal placing down proxies, and we've actually seen Beyond and some others stick to their old school guns and do proxies against Protoss. So I'm curious to see how this will play out. We have seen adepts still be pretty good in the matchup. Colossus got changed, of course, and we'll talk about all the nuances as they do come up. Big thank you to L2 Protoss for the Twitch Prime sub. Speaking of Prime subs, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub.
I do believe that says learn to Protoss. Alrighty, alright. Learn to make oracles, Rifkin. Learn to make more devs. Oh, I people in bank face.
I don't see Earn in that name at all. In fact, if anything, that looks like R Protoss with a fancy looking R.
I was so confused. I was like, because there's no earn in learn.
You can't
But
spell
there is.
learn without earn.
But there is. Oh, okay. English language. Great. So, yeah, talking about the game. The medevac drop. It's normal stuff.
This doesn't have Automine, though. This is just Marines.
Yeah, I guess Widowmine drop is not the right word. I'm just so used to medevac drop, alright, in the early stages. With Widow Mines also out and doing the second part of the drop, I do like this variation better than the single Widow Mine drop with Marines. I think the chances of distracting in one location or another just greatly increases the chances that you'll get damage done. What it doesn't increase, though, is the defense back at home, because, of course, Euthermal's army is entirely out of the map right now.
Now this is a Widow Mine drop. This is pod racing.
It's a great quote. Love that movie.
I feel so bad for that kid, man. He had the worst life after that.
Oh, he did actually. You should. Everyone should feel bad for that kid. Anyway. So, uThermal, is he gonna get any damage done? Even if he doesn't, as long as he doesn't lose the 2 medevacs, it's okay. And he is falling with tanks, so even if Wellmu was like slapped down both medevacs and countered, the tanks would be enough. They're enough before the patch, and they're definitely enough with the patch.
Well, the amount of stalkers here is certainly alarming. If they manage to blink on top of any single medevac, it's going to go down. So I think that's why he really wants to distract on this side. His Widow Mines are a lot more potent, but the Liberator's also got an aspect too. Euthermal's hitting all 3 locations. He's going to Liberator the main, Widow Mine the natural, and of course Marine drop here in the 3rd. Widow Mines, all of them unload, and the kills aren't bad. 11 probes.
Nice.
Stalkers also didn't know where to go, so then now the base is getting low, and he might just snipe the Nexus.
Oh my god, and the Nexus is gonna go down. Oh my god, uThermal is dealing so much damage!
Okay, now granted it was a cancel, not a kill, and the Liberator stops the main. You're right, this was a lot of damage for a very concise 3-pronged attack. This was, I don't know if anyone watched Breaking Bad, but this is like when they killed everybody in the prisons at the same time. That's what just went down.
Spoiler, for the love of God.
Okay, I'm sorry, but Breaking Bad's been out long enough at this point where spoiler statute of limitations
Here's
is
something
expired.
interesting. Is the statute of limitations based off the episode you're spoiling, or based off the end episode of the series you're spoiling?
That's actually interesting. I would normally get pretty shitty about this, but that's a good point because I feel like if it's a if it's a really critically acclaimed show that only just recently ended, I would say the end of the end of the last episode, because you know somebody's gonna binge watch that whole thing.
Yeah. Well,
I think if you're in a group of friends and one of your friends falls behind, though, it's definitely the episode.
Yes, that is true. I don't think I've ever fallen behind. I don't think I've ever made a pact to watch the TV show with my friends. I guess for the first place, but I also.
Well, we semi did, I guess, with the Future Diaries show. But it was just more like we both just binge watched it at slightly different times.
Yeah, we watched it in 4 days, but 4 days apart from each other. Yeah, that's true. That's probably the only time. It was just a wild experience. It was such a good show.
Darius. Tanks aren't set up. If the tanks were set up, they absolutely break these stalkers. But the stalkers blink in, they break the tanks. Marines jump out of the bunker. It's a little bit scary. 3rd base just landed too, so he has to defend this.
This is scary. Stim's not anywhere close to being finished, and he has enough bio. He's gonna bring the SCVs just in case, and to of course repair that command center.
Oh, the command center's getting really low. Wellmu didn't get greedy. I wonder if it would have been worth sacrificing the stalkers for, though. That would have been a big pickoff.
Yes, it would have, but he probably would have died to the counter. Stim will be finishing up eventually.
So I don't know if there's a single Widow Mine or what. Something on the other side of the map got a couple of probe kills while this was going on, too. Thank you for that new sub, by the way, coming in here with Nelfor just subscribing to the channel. That's awesome to see. We've had so much sub action. I guess it's just that time of the year. Thank you guys for your continued generosity. Capital42 for 10 months says thank you for all your hard work. I live in Seattle. Come visit and enjoy some legal greens. I hate vegetables because clearly that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, you just mistake leafy greens.
I don't smoke salad. I'm sorry.
That time of the year is really hitting, man. So many Christmas songs. First they came into the American-owned companies like Starbucks, but now they're hitting every store in Korea. Only English I get to hear, besides your beautiful voice, Rifkin.
Oh, thank you. That's weird. Why is Rapid Casting talking to you in Korean? And Scarlet too, I guess?
Yeah.
My voice is beautiful, though, so thank you for pointing that out. That was definitely the most important part of that statement. Triple drops unload here in the main. Time Warp goes down, which is a little bit kind of fun to see, but it doesn't catch anything, unfortunately. Snipes off the Robo, so denies the Colossus. Nice pick off out of Euthermal. Another Robo going to go down, and no Colossus production for you, Wellmu.
Womp womp. That's pretty important. He needs Colossus to continue on in this game.
Without a doubt, one of my favorite aspects of watching uThermal, specifically when he was growing versus Zerg, was he has consistently been a pretty aggressive Terran player, and this game has really been no exception to that.
Yeah, just starting off the game really well. Messing up with the tank thing which has given Wellmu a shot in this game, but not a very big one even still, as Wellmu drastically behind in that army supply, and without that splash damage he definitely needs.
Well, it's picking off the pylons again. It's going to be really annoying. As the army responds up here, though, might just be baited out of position. This army's looking to move in, but the question is, does it go to the natural or to the third? Either way, they should be able to get some kills. Wellmu's army's down a pretty significant amount. Big warp in over here to the third, scans the natural base. Overcharge is going to spook off this army because it has no medevac support. Meanwhile, the warp prism comes across the map looking for some counterattack damage, but Euthermal's reinforcements are in position.
Yeah. It's also such a typical place to try and grasp on Echo. Yeah.
Well, that was not deemed to live too long in this world. If only warp prisms had 20 more health, am I right?
Am I right? Still would have died there, but there's some other scenarios.
Yo gabba gabba.
Ah, boy. These medevacs can't be touched. Doesn't matter, the Stalkers have Blink. Echo has so much dead space.
Thank you, Starfield, for the 23-month resub. And can we get a ban on Vex's Nightmare for spoiling that Hitler lost World War II? I think that is a major spoiler.
I mean, Hitler was the guy that killed the guy that ended World War II in Germany, so is he a hero?
Whoa, you just blew my mind, kind of like Hitler did. Okay, Liberators are actually doing a fantastic job. The Stalkers blink underneath it, but the Widowmine's gonna pop. No, it keeps having its targets die. GG's still get called, and Euthermal will take a very clean game number 1.
Golf clap.
I didn't get out of game soon enough so people couldn't see and respect the golf clap. I'm sorry.
Damn.
All right, quick commercial break, guys, for game 2. We'll see you soon. Hey guys, we're back. Game has just kicked off. It's map number 2 in Wellmu versus Euthermal. This is still the round of 8 for the top dog, the international top dogs. Excuse me, round of 8. But game 1 did not go so much in his favor, despite me accidentally giving a +1 on the overlay. Top side of the map, it's gonna be the blue Protoss Wellmu.
In the bottom position, as the red Terran, he's liquid Euthermal.
So Wellmu made, I want to say, like, he made the right decisions in terms of, like, he was trying to get the Colossus out. He wanted the Robotech. He had Immortals even, like, I think on deck. That's how the late game versus Terran's going to look, I guess. But the damage he took was so substantial, and getting there is not exactly the freebie. So what I liked seeing out of some of the Koreans we were casting was like a lot of those Phoenix openers, watching some of the Oracles play out, even though they weren't always the greatest. Hell, watching Drogo go like triple Oracles in some games, whatever. Point of it is, I don't feel like you can glide towards that Robotech. It's just not going to work, especially with players like Euthermal willing to get aggressive. That 3-pronged attack in that first game, so good.
You could have probably made a better kissing sound. Mwah!
Mwah! So
there,
good.
That's it. That's juicy.
Well, I was actually doing the whole thing like with my fingers too, like the Italiano, like. Oh, Welmu is gonna proxy a Stargate. Hey, so it is classical Advanced Research Station combined with a little bit of a proxy action.
Hell yeah. We saw earlier, me in the chat, I suppose. Jim was playing in the Thing Cup, and he just one-based the hell out of, like, all of his games. He actually proxied for you to deserve Ripken.
Did you see that stupid article about, like, Haas and match fixing and stuff versus, like...
No.
Basically, some idiot wrote a really terrible article, and it's just like, no, Haas just doesn't macro. That's why he does these cheesy builds. Like,
he's a guy from Team Liquid.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. This is a stupid article. I got like mad read. It wasn't even an article. It was like a paragraph this guy wrote. It's like the stupidest thing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people reasoning why he messed up, but I don't know if there was a response or not. So, Euthermal will scout it's a 1-base, and when it's a 1-base, it's like 99% of the time a Stargate. So he could engineering bay block and finish the engineering bay. I love when people do that, but he's not. It's fine. It's whatever. It's just gonna be the whatever you get for the factory, basically. Whether that's a Widowmine or Cyclone is up to Euthermal.
Ooh, I like the bunker over here. should be able to help stall out the pylon from getting the overcharges that are so annoying. I mean, Welmu's coming from the front door with that. Oracle going to start up in a second. Cyclone comes out. The Cyclone's a very precarious unit now. I actually don't know how this will measure up in this situation. On one hand, it will destroy a pylon better than it ever did in the past. On the other hand, it's terrible at killing oracles and air units, Mothership Core included.
Yeah. It still has enough constant DPS that can micro that it seemed to do well. Because again, this is actually like literally the game that happened like 8 hours earlier. Jim versus a bunch of Terrans. So it was interesting though. Jim did win a game by going for a Void Ray, and the Void Ray, once it's in range of the Cyclone, will just kill it. It won't stop losing the range. Like it felt like it used to, but I don't know if Welmu was going to be willing to be that cheesy, and he's not. Oracle gets denied.
Yeah, turret holds onto this too. And it looks like the SCV repair, the pylon's actually really poorly positioned, I guess. If the pylon had been a little bit closer, it'd be in range of the bunker, but on the other hand, it would have been in range to shoot the SCVs as well. You'll note it can't do either, so it's in such a bad spot for Welmu as far as this opening goes. It's a big dedication. We do have the triple oracles. He's going to come right back in with some damage later, but this initial push has not been worth even losing the pylon, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, uThermal was totally prepared, which is already like a sucky thing. If you proxy Stargate, I feel like you're kind of hoping that they don't get to see your natural, basically. And on Van Eye Research Station, it's kind of interesting about this map is you'd see, Zergs take the third as their natural, and then go for like an all-in because you think they go for 3 base. You'd see the Protosses go for 1 base because you don't scout the natural.
For a second, I was wondering if he had left his gun on. It looked like he was a little bit low on that Oracle energy, but it comes in, kills that first one, no problem. SCVs are still going to be protected by the turret. That much isn't going to change, but picking off anything in between and around is going to be easy. The Starport being shut down like this is super annoying too because there's no Viking, no Liberator coming out to push back those Oracles.
Welmu's going to go to 4 Oracles. Can he go to 5 Oracles? 4 Oracles? 5 Oracles? Clavicles?
5 Oracles sound like an ice cream you'd get out of a moving truck type thing.
Clavicles?
No, the 5 Oracle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it does. It's like, clavicles was a real thing. Man, ice cream trucks. That would be like...
I broke my clavicle. I know that it's a real thing.
Right? Mass swap of add-ons. Unfortunately, these Oracles aren't getting what they wanted.
No, I mean, they sold out another turret, but the turret's going to finish up too and protect the tech lab. As he's pushed back from this, it's really unfortunate because had he actually bust through those Marines, even with the Viking out, he could have then killed the tank, killed a couple more units, and maybe sacrificed the Oracles even on top of that. But this is just not proven to be too worth it. And while Wellmu may be enjoying a worker lead back at home off of this, it's not like a third Nexus is down. It's not like there's a Colossus on deck. Everything here is kind of just that slow growing behind it.
Yeah, exactly. uThermal is not going to have to worry about an overwhelming Protoss, which hasn't been the way Protoss have been playing anyway, but he's not going to be facing an overwhelming Protoss, nor is he going to be facing a Protoss that is teched really hard, because there's been so much from the Stargate. And Stargate at this point isn't really great tech. Even if he does get the 5 Phoenixes to deny medevac drops, we're going to be talking more about the lack of splash that Welmu's going to feel.
Liberator can't get much done. Again, this thing losing its bonus damage to light suddenly made it very terrible versus Oracles and Phoenix. And what's a little bit sad in that regard is I really think Blizzard made this change purely based off TVZ and did not consider the ramifications of the other matchups. Because the Liberator really does almost no damage to Phoenix and Oracle now. Seriously, it's actually ridiculous.
Well, the third Nexus is now on the way, and Wellmu might just have enough time to start Robotics Bay and start 1 Colossus, but uThermal almost has his medevacs and his stim, and that will be the point to push, assuming his third base isn't attacked, which it's not. There's no, not a War Prism quite yet. Don't know how this Liberator managed to sneak past, but is going to deny minerals.
Yeah, Mothership Core, where are you? There she is. The overcharge should take care of it, so this is a minor annoyance for the time being.
Don't pull back into it. Alright, so that's a bit of an air fleet going on here, but honestly, it's not that impressive.
Well, what's funny is it has baited out a fair amount of turrets out of uThermal. Not that it's at the point of the game where we're counting resources lost through buildings, but 5 turrets is a pretty considerable amount.
Yeah. We'll see what they can actually contribute when the push comes, because the Phoenix will obviously be able to take out the medevacs. That is an important factor. The Oracles, 3 of them, can do some significant damage to the ground army too, but they're all very low health units that could also just be sniped instantly too, at the slightest bit of miss micro.
Well, there hasn't been many worker kills on either side of the field, but uThermal's looking to change that up. He's got a couple of Widow Mines loaded in this medevac, along with Marines and Marauders. This third base is actually pretty exposed, and even with the Adepts and the Sentries to cover, it still might take some losses.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Wellmu did not get that revelation despite having 3 Oracles soon enough. And usually, I'll give Wellmu credit here, usually when the Terran sees there's 5 Phoenix, they just kind of stop trying to drop. But uThermal's been extra sneaky along the very far edges of the map.
I suppose uThermal's using the Marauder skin. One of the poor fools who wasted money on that one skin.
Right.
Alright, so
he maybe could have gone for the army instead. But 6 probes ain't bad.
No, he's starting up a fusion core behind this, and I'd like to get hyped for battle cruisers, but it is most certainly for that Liberator range. Oracle's gonna have to pop Revelation to clean up these Widow Mines, hopefully. He's trying to chase for medevacs, but they're gone.
He's gonna get away with a nice leftover army. Has 20 army supply lead, is going to have Liberators. Phoenixes don't kill Liberators fast enough to really necessarily be called a counter, but they are helpful. And finally, Colossus are on the way, but only 1 or 2? Okay, he does have double overproduction. So 2 or 4, that's very different.
You know, actually, so someone in chat brings this up as a misunderstanding of what's going on, but I do want to bring some attention and question mark, like, I wonder how the hashtag Roddy builds work. I mean, these were the old maps you would do them on, and they're certainly viable then. I'm wondering if you'd get away with it now with the economy and everything being so different. I mean, this base is... it's right there, after all.
Oh god, no. PCs are updating.
Uh-oh.
No! Don't come to me! I'm in my corner!
So the ripple doesn't, like, reach shockwaving down to your side. So double Colossus production for Wellmu and extended thermal lines is really nice because he is covered a little bit by the air army he currently has. Not exactly on mass, Viking production yet out of uThermal or anything, but the problem is they're still not here, and this is like that timing from that last game. If he starts running around and sniping off the robos and the pylons, then what does that matter? Colossus 1 is out. Widow Mines are here though.
Ah, no, Colossus. Oh, no, Colossus.
Colossus takes a lot of damage from that.
Yeah, accidentally walks in with the stalkers.
He's gonna try and focus it down. He does snipe with the last couple shots of that Marauder. The drop gets cleaned up, but the big attack now moving on the left side of the map.
Yeah, it's still kind of rallying though, so not quite prepared to snipe at third base, but altogether it will be hard for Wellmu to clean up. He still does not have Blink, so his only real answer to the Liberators is hoping the Phoenix kills him fast enough, which I don't think is a very good hope at all, or the Colossus kills the ground army fast enough, which I don't think is very good hope, considering there's only 2 of them. Okay, 3 of them, but still not 5 or 6.
The probes get pulled.
Phoenix.
Feels bad, man. Yeah, the Phoenix does get popped off by the Widow Mines. Marines chasing in that last one. Well, the Colossus here are going to be hard to deal with. Let's not forget, those Liberators do have range, so they can inch forward, and with Widow Mines and Marauders protecting them, Stalkers can't blink underneath it. There's no Phoenix left in the sky. There's really nothing to easily deal with this. 25 probes died. The third base, very importantly, died. While Gold Base may have been started behind this, I don't know that Wellmu's going to get to a point where he can mine off of it.
I really think that Wellmu's just going to be hoping that he'll get to a good army, basically, which is not out of the question, but is going to be hard to do when you're, down in that economy. There was a small counterattack with a Warpers and a couple of Depths in uThermal's natural, but it only killed 5 SCVs. Not nearly the same amount of damage we watched happen unfold for Wellmu. Cool idea with the stasis traps. Keep the Colossus safe at the very least.
Yeah, I like it. We've actually seen a couple of games, Youngsik especially, where there's been really amazing
And
stasis traps.
we'll never see that guy again, will we?
I know, rest in peace, enjoy Overwatch, bro.
Yeah, I hope you're good. It's gonna be quite the market out here.
Well, he's actually
Marauders.
getting...
Whoopsie.
The Marauders can sustain quite a few hits, as we can see, but there's also no reason to be fighting away from the Liberators. I guess because uThermal's busy focusing on this base over here. Woodmine's on the backside. Stalker's going to try and get it underneath those Liberators, maybe, but this then means uThermal will advance with this army and now sets up so there's no way for Wellmu to retreat back.
Oh, the Woodmines get some really good hits too with the Stalkers.
Yeah, with all the Stalkers going down to this. Let's not forget, like, okay, everything here gets cleaned up, but he did kill the base. He stopped this from going up, and he sets up a secure attack on this side. Nothing can walk back up. GG! uThermal going to take a 2-0 lead now in the series. That's 2 games that also, I'm going to say, very one-sided. I really don't think Wellmu's doing a lot wrong, but he's not getting a lot for all of his struggles.
Yeah. The game is entirely not going... His game plan isn't wrong, but the game is going wrong for him.
By the way, thank you, Raugen for the 10 months. Says 10 plus months of awesome entertainment. Keep it up, guys. Thank you for subbing. We're going to go to commercial break, though, guys. We'll see you all in 2 minutes with game number 3. It might be the last one when we return.
Oh, game's actually starting. What? Newkirk Precinct.
Okay. I'm back.
Hello.
Just in the nick of time.
Perfect timing. Well done.
I had to brush my teeth. I couldn't. I don't know why. They're not dirty. I just had this. That stupid thing I talked about earlier was bugging me real bad.
Ah, I getcha.
For those who don't know, I have to wear this like retainer thing at night, and it's just, the feel of it is there like all the time, even when I'm not wearing it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. But anyways, all that aside, we are in game number 3. Things are of course 2-0 in the favor of this guy, as he's now 1 win away from victory. In the bottom left side, it's the red Terran player, Team Liquid's uThermal.
In the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, he is Wellmu.
By the way, our new sub Widowmines, I love, is a scumbag, just like a real Widowmine, promising no friendly fire, when really he's looking to kill your own army. I will say, by the way, uThermal doing really well here, I think, is not necessarily to the fault of Wellmu, but uThermal's just been a really good player, and it's like anybody that gets picked up by Team Liquid, they get like this little bit of extra magic and they become all-stars. I was really sad when Bunny had to go focus more on school, so that, for those who don't know, that's why you haven't seen Liquid Bunny competing in much of anything lately. He's very focused on finishing school. So it's nice that they got uThermal to fill the ranks of Terran.
Yeah. It's sad to see Bunny all the time, but uThermal is certainly a maybe even better at this point replacement. Bunny had his highlight months, but uThermal's had a very good last 7 months.
That's very true, but the thing that's really weird about Wellmu, or sorry, not Wellmu, uThermal, is I think he's also had more, we'll say, kinks in his play than Bunny per se. Like Bunny was always kind of smoothly good or bad across all the matchups. But uThermal will go in these bouts where he'll just be really bad at one matchup for a small period of time for no real good reason, and then just overcome it. But then overcoming it somehow seems to lose his edge in another one. Like as he gets good at TvP, he gets bad at TvT. I can't explain it.
I get what you mean, and it's also their styles. Like Bunny really not quite spoon Terran, right? But he was consistent and consistently getting better, and wasn't exactly the most exciting player. He did have the Bunny build, which is really cool, but uThermal is more like he'll go for the Haymaker, miss, and then die maybe, or sometimes looks really, really cool, like that 3-pronged attack on Echo. So I would say he's, my opinion, a more fun player to watch. We've also, I feel like we've got to see uThermal grow.
Yeah, that's probably the really cool thing. Like, well, I got to see Bunny grow, because even before you hopped onto Cast and BaseTradeTV, I was watching Bunny back when he was on like Vega Squadron, like super way back in the day. But uThermal certainly has, I think, this year been a highlight player as far as growth. Because I remember at the start of the year, back in January, like his TVZ was abysmal. It wasn't looking hot at all, right? Maybe I got my timeline off a little bit on this, but the point of it is we got to watch him overcome the hurdles that were Nurchio, dance around in the best of 15 for the map test tournament. Like, he really is the one player that if I had to give like a growth award to for the year, I think it would be him over anyone else.
Yep. I do appreciate that I got to see the rise of the Korean players, but sometimes I do regret not seeing the European players first, because the North American players have all let me down.
I hate it so much because while there are some good North American players out there, I'm not going to discredit any. You look at the way Killzero played today, right? Like, there are good North American players out there, but they've been so few and so inconsistent. I have written off North America. Like, I am actually at this point where I do not consider North America when I'm talking about StarCraft. I'm talking about Europe and I'm talking about Korea.
Yeah, all the players that I knew when I was casting back in the day, just they don't even play anymore. Like, the last guy was intense, basically. And, well, rip. Anyway, enough about the past. The drop coming in for uThermal is matched by the drop that's going to be coming in for Wellmu. I do like that Wellmu's kind of changing things up. Again, it's not necessarily that he's doing anything terrible, like a proxy Stargate didn't work. Maybe you could say he overcommitted to it, sure, but it happens. First game, just, you know, uThermal out-harassed him. That'll happen too, but still, mixing things up. Adept harassment into very quick robotics bay. And uThermal really has a lot of answer for mass adepts. He just doesn't have that much production, so it's not that many adepts, but in relation to what uThermal has, it is.
Yeah, an overcharge pushes off uThermal, but nothing pushes off these adepts. Even that bunker, I don't know how well it's going to fare.
Why would you attack the bunker?
That's a great question, because he could have just sat in the mineral line. So I don't know, Zombie.
Well, 20 workers still died for Welmu. Not what I expected, but yeah. Widowmine's got some good shots.
I mean, it's sitting there unburrowed, not to mention there's an observer right above it. I guess it's just been a lot more focus on these Marines here in the natural base.
Yeah.
Tank the main gonna go down. I mean, this got a lot more dicey on both sides. I didn't expect this to get so out of hand, but both players are knocked down to sub 30 workers.
Right. I don't know what happens in this game from here.
Well, uThermal still hasn't cleaned up the adepts, and that is a big problem. Vikings and the Marines he has currently could probably take on the remaining ones, but it's about catching them too.
The Widowmine shot goes off. Not too much more damage, but the point is it's still alive.
Kills. Yeah, and the medevac, importantly as well, that was guarding it. Another warp prism is going to come out of this too, but I think at this point uThermal has stabilized. So is Welmu though. So at the end of the day, I think I like uThermal's position ever so slightly better, just because mules are better at band-aiding this particular damage than Chrono Boost is.
I mean, even workers is going to favor the Terran, and they're basically at even workers. Plus Welmu was going to follow up with some very expensive tech, and because of his lost workers, now really he's going to have a tough time doing that. It's either going to be Colossus or fodder for the Colossus, not really both.
So people would like to nitpick my setting of Killzero. I'm going to just go ahead and shut you all down because Killzero's playing from North America right now in the Root Gaming House in California. That is definitely not South America. Is he South American by, I guess, birth? Yes, that's very true.
People bring up Scarlet too, I guess, while we watch this kind of settle, I suppose. What's funny is that
Scarlet spent so little time in North America in the last 2 years. Like,
well, that's not where I was gonna go. I mean, I think what we're talking about when we're talking about people growing, they literally started from the bottom in their like tiny regional cups and grew, right? Scarlet literally decided she wanted to play StarCraft, got Masters in a week, played in Playham's like player thing, got super famous overnight, and there was no. I watched Scarlet when she was a little baby. Like, you either knew her or you didn't, right? So I feel like that's very different situations.
Well, I guess part of that too, it's not even growth in terms of player skill, but also just like StarCraft blew up so quick that you had people who were just put on that pedestal whether they wanted to be or not.
That's true.
I guess Neeb would be the most recent example of that. Like, whether he wants to be famous or not, Neeb is famous, right? But no other players have really achieved that status or had that status given to them on the silver platter since the old days of, back like when MLG was still big and stuff like that.
The drop from Wellmu did a couple more SCVs worth of damage, which is nice, but I don't know if it still quite makes up for his own delayed economy. They both have delayed economies. They both kill a lot of workers, but it's always a question of like who benefits more. And it's generally going to be the Terran because they got the cheaper mass-produced units like Marines and Mules to help. So that's really a balance complaint, but it is just kind of the way the game goes. And Wellmu's benefit is that he did get to Colossus, and Colossus should wreck these mass-produced tiny units called Marines.
Well, the tanks will help a little bit in this situation. I don't actually know what happens if a siege tank splat the cooling tower. Does it die? I guess it dies if it's knocked down.
Yeah, if it can't move, it dies.
Third base being pushed back, though, is really nice. Wellmu also supply blocked off this. Is pretty nasty. Piling going down is going to even further that.
Yeah, this is just a small army that the Marines are absolutely going to die to the Colossus, but Wellmu's taking the time to think so seriously. Much better off probably just trying to drop with those. He definitely wasn't paying attention and let them go forward like that, and that's where the real danger of Terran comes, is that their potential and their medevac drops, and especially a guy like uThermal can, if he was behind, bring you back from behind. But again, I don't think he was.
Third CC finishes up in the main of uThermal, so hopefully we'll be taking that soon and trying to get that advantage, but Wellmu does start a third up here as well.
The game it's still at like a stable point. Biggest problem for uThermal was his lack of upgrades. We're talking a lot about Wellmu's tech and if he could get to it or not. uThermal got to his starport but didn't get his upgrades for his base units, and that's a big deal. So he'll be not really truly pushing for some time, and Wellmu's gonna be able to grow that Colossus count. He started so early with so few, but the good news is he hasn't lost any, so keep investing into it. By the time uThermal pushes, he might even have 5 if he decides to go up that high. Or he might push into uThermal. I don't know about that, though. Defensively, defender's advantage and all that, but also the tanks being in good position. We'll see how it goes. Colossus tech might just trump whatever uThermal has.
It's so tough for me to buy into that, though. I feel like maybe I'm drinking the tank Kool-Aid a little bit much. But I feel like siege tanks are just so good against Colossus. Not just in terms of damage, but that 13 range being like the real trump card. There we go, look at that, like boom. Like all the shield's gone in 2 shots. Feels good, man.
Tanks, good unit. Thank God for tanks. Alright, so Wellmu's not going to be able to push into this, I would say. Unless he had some sick War Prism drop on the tanks or in the main as well that really distracted uThermal. I don't think he can do this. But he's going to try. What's even more boggling about this, though, is he doesn't have a War Prism to reinforce. So even if he does trade out, what is his ultimate goal here?
So tanks a little bit disappointed there at first because they were of course shooting the adepts, meaning they weren't shelling away the stalkers of the Colossus, but as all the fodder disappears, the tanks hold their position. I don't know why he force-fed those tanks, but they look so weird. But Liberator's being made, more starport coming too, and even that Liberator range getting ready to go for. I think at this point uThermal's identified Colossus are going to be weak against this, and with Wellmu having nowhere near enough stalkers at all, there's just nothing that's going to cover this. I think Liberators will win this game out.
I agree.
On their own.
It's good that he kept his Colossus alive. It's usually goal number 1, but he is having such a difficult time, having only recently got back up to 3 bases, mine out of his main basically, getting additional units for those Colossus. Just Colossus won't win you a game.
Yeah, he's going to be relying on overcharge to push them back too. Now this command center actually wasn't repaired from earlier, which is a little bit awkward, so it's actually on fire now. So they're starting to repair it up.
Oh, but what happened there? They depth shade through? Why would they do that? Oh, he scanned the observer. Okay. 4th base is on the way for Wellmu, and he does need it. Again, that main is getting mined out. But Storm, more interesting. Still no real answer for Liberators. His stalker count isn't high enough to be called an answer. And with all the upgrades done for the bio, these Colossus are a lot of danger doing something like this.
Yeah, I would agree, because without that proper buffer and without that proper fluff, there might have been that stim on top of it. He didn't know that there was this pickup going on the other side of the map. These Templar also are not paying attention, so the feedback comes a little bit late. Gets one of the medevacs.
Okay, one of the medevacs for 2 High Templars. It's not that bad, and of course all of these Stalkers and Marauders are here.
Yeah, not to mention Probe's going to go down next if he still can't clean this up, which it's still looking questionable. Wellmu actually brings his forces back to deal with this, freeing Wellmu from his position. Or should? Oh man, 6 health on the Colossus.
Yeah, unfortunately it was rallied forward, I guess, with the Warp Prism. 17 probes, that's impressive. And the 4th base is about to be attacked too. Not as many losses to be said here, as Wellmu's responding fairly quickly, but still losses. Oh, he targeted the medevac, so he lost a couple of Stalkers. And High Templar. And a
Well,
Colossus.
I mean, that Colossus was a gimme. Like, gimme that Colossus. Welmu, while taking some pretty nasty losses, still isn't really falling that far behind, though. His production still holds up. His probe count's not bad. His upgrades are here. It's not like Protoss player went all in and didn't have any plan B for it. So I mean, I like what uThermal's doing. A lot more emphasis on the Liberators, I think, will lock him this game down, but he's still building a lot of Marauders, a lot of Marines. Just overall good army.
It is. Wellmu's really got to depend on a lot of splash and good positioning to win him an army fight, which he can still win. He's only down 10 army supply. Just the Liberators are a big problem for him. Yeah. Upgrades are becoming a problem too.
Another issue too is normally if you got one Liberator, it doesn't cover itself versus Stalkers blinking around the edge of it. Two Liberators kind of do, but he's going to split them up. Wellmu, I don't know how big of a deal probe pickoffs are at this point because of the way his saturation is, right? Your main's empty, your natural is pretty much empty. You don't need 57 probes for one base mining.
What is his army doing here? I think uThermal's also like, where's the army?
He's hiding it.
Yeah, you know, because he doesn't know there's already 3 Colossus. Hey, he gets a Liberator.
Instilling fear into his enemy. The paranoia just runs strong.
It would make me paranoid, and then I'd see where it is and be like, oh, this guy's just bad. Wellmu's not actually bad, but that's what I would think, right?
I mean, the positioning on the army was objectively bad because it wasn't in position to save anything or hide from anything. But, okay, we got the big push finally coming down the map. A lot of Marauders, a lot of Marines. Very few medevacs, actually. I guess that's a point to make because he's been producing so many Liberators. But this game is about those Liberators. There's just simply not enough Stalkers to pick them off. And with no Tempest, no Phoenix, no air support, Storms aren't going to cut it.
Yeah, he would really need... I mean, maybe even twice the amount of Stalkers just to kill the Liberators quick enough.
Yeah.
It's a couple almost freebies. That's nice to start.
This is a really bad start for the fight for uThermal. Keep in mind, without medevacs, these Storms are even more dangerous than ever, especially with Stim. That being said, the splits aren't bad. It looks like he will clean up the army. That's going to be game. That's going to be the series. I mean, he might hold on with a couple more of Adepts for this 3-0, but he's just denying the inevitable at this point.
Inedible. No, that didn't quite work. Damn it.
He's inedible. That's true.
Inadaptable.
Overcharge. You're gonna, well, it's got a lot of energy on it. Use it before you lose it, I suppose. It is the last game, so you might as well fight to the last. But uThermal not only just has a great army supply lead, the type of army supply at this point is a little out of hand. If this was all just Marines, you could argue maybe some sort of mistake happens, but not with Liberators. GG's get called, and uThermal takes the 3-0. But here's my question to you, Zombie Grub, and I want an honest answer. Between the Korean TvPs that we saw before, and this one here versus Wellmu, am I alone in saying that TvP is really boring right now?
TvP?
Yeah.
I don't think it's boring.
I guess maybe really boring is being a bit harsh. My point of this would be like, with all the TVZs we've seen, Reapers or not, mid-game or late game, it's been a lot more action-packed. Whereas Protoss vs. Terran feels very much like, all right, let's both chill out for a while, then attack, and then we'll chill out for a while again, and then maybe attack.
You can't entirely blame it on the fact that Protoss are playing the defensive Colossus style again, so it is a lot more like Heart of the Swarm. So I get what you're saying. It just, right now, it's being overshadowed by the boringness that is PvZ for me. PvZ
isn't boring so much as it is lame, in my opinion, just because of the way the Hydras have made things.
Give me that one.
Like, for me, when Terran vs. Zerg was in that same predicament with Ultras for a while, right? At least you had this crazy mad dash scramble to see cool stuff happen before the Ultras. But there's none of that for Protoss. For them, it's just like the slow build up to a death to Hydras a lot of the time. With the exception of some players like Neeb and others finding a way to get carriers. But I don't know, the current patch, in my opinion, I like the longer games that are potentially coming out of it. I don't like the types of games, though, because even when it was Swarm Host era, right? Hour-and-a-half long games of BS, it was still constant action through the waves of locusts. And that, for me, was what really sells StarCraft. I love how action-packed it is. You know, you watch Professional League or Dota or something, right? More popular games, hell, even Hearthstone. And they're all very boring, slow. Like, League has no ganking going on. Everyone just farms for 20 minutes and then they fight and the game's over. I know that's oversimplification, but it's the point made where it's not as awesome as StarCraft, to me, at least. So I really hope this new patch of the game doesn't... Like, I hope this isn't the trend. I hope there's going to be fixes for it, or players figure something out. Because we've cast, I would say, a fair amount of games at this point, and I'm not too thrilled with the current state of the game.
I get you. I would say that there is a little bit to blame, to shift the blame off of the patch and say that Protosses were experimenting with the defensive Colossus style again before the patch hit. So, I mean, it's not entirely the patch's fault for that particular matchup.
That's true. Anyways, we're going to be going to a break as we get into the last best of 5 today. It should be noted, Nerdcho and a Laser is going to be from replays. I don't know why it's from replays, but apparently it's coming from replays. So thank you guys for watching. Do stick around. We got one more best of 5. It's a ZVZ. We'll see you soon. Okay, so we're back, but I'm like actually contemplating leaving, guys. They started the replay without us, and every other caster, they just literally left us out. So I really gotta be honest, I don't know that I super care for casting replays anyways. ZVZ especially. So I'll let Zombie drive the wheel on this, because I've just checked their stream and they have officially started without anyone else. So we could call it here, or we could stick around for however long it takes to get into game 2. What do you want to do?
Well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning where I am. They obviously made a mistake, and we also lost like 1,000 viewers.
Yeah, I'm just not motivated to stick around personally, but I guess in your consideration, it is probably worth you going home and to bed.
Yeah, it is. I wonder if they thought that.
Wow. Oh yeah.
If they thought that they gave everyone the replays, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing? Why aren't you casting them?"
Yeah. Well, if you guys want to watch the rest of the games, you can check it out on Out Gaming. Please note that we're not leaving out of spite. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of disrespect, but I don't really care about that. I'm just actually pretty tired, and I think I'd rather just take the early day and rest up for tomorrow's cast. We'll be casting the Would You Watch This tournament. So thank you guys for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, before we disappear, I do want to talk about our sponsors. Some of these sponsors are going to possibly disappear over the next couple days. For example, our contract with G2A is up. Our contract with Chairs for Gaming is up. There's going to be renegotiations going on. The only one we really have for certain going into 2017 is Corsair. But there's also plans to re-sign with some of these guys at later dates too. So just because I know there's people out there who are going to drama monger and be like, wow, Cheers for Gaming stopped sponsoring BaseTradeTV because Rifkin's an asshole. Like, no, that's not how that's going to play out. And I want to make sure everyone's fully aware of that. So as we get into new 2017, I'm hoping to bring on some new sponsors. I'm hoping to work with some new sponsors. And I'm hoping to keep working with some of our old sponsors. But there will be some changes going forward. So don't be alarmed, dear Base Trade fans. But as our very last shout out to all of them, G2A, Corsair, Cheers for Gaming, and Yord. Check them out while you can. Zombie, you got any final say-sos before we leave?
Thanks for watching, everyone. Follow me on Twitter at ZGGaming and YouTube, ZombieGrub.
Do us a favor, check out our latest co-op video as well on youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. If you missed yesterday, there's some pretty good fail highlight moments. It's a bit of a frustrating one. Of course, you can click on the info section down below. We always put our recent co-op videos down there too. But again, thanks for watching. Sorry for the shorter cast, but once again we're casting every single day, so you'll see more of us soon. When's the next Lee Fang Cup group?
Next week, I think, or Sunday, something like that. Monday.
Yeah, I'm looking at the thing. I really like. I'm thinking the next couple days, guys. I'm hoping we can announce the last really big thing we have planned, because it's really coming close to fruition. We get some really cool stuff on deck, and I can't wait to share it with you all. But that concludes our November. So thanks for making it awesome. Thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you tomorrow with December and the start of a brand new month. Bye-bye.
Bye.